6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, this is 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Rob.
As well as bringing the world to a halt, the coronavirus epidemic has led to an increase in misinformation, lies and conspiracy theories on the internet.
In an era of fake news, where even the President of the United States is accused of spreading misinformation, could it be that we are living through a crisis in trust? What is trust? And who should we place our trust in? These are some of the questions we'll be discussing in this programme.
And we'll be hearing from a philosopher who believes the problem is not about trust itself, but about trustworthiness, the ability to be trusted as being honest and reliable.
And, as always, we'll be learning some related vocabulary along the way. Of course, telling lies and lacking trustworthiness is nothing new. Just think of the Trojan horse used to trick the ancient Greeks.
More recently, the American financier Bernie Madoff became infamous as the biggest swindler in history. In 2009, he was sentenced to 150 years in prison for his part in the Ponzi scam. But how much did he defraud from investors? That's my quiz question. Was it A, $6.5 million, B, $65 million, or C, $65 billion?
I'll say B, $65 million.
OK, Rob, we'll come back to that later. Generally speaking, trust can be described as a judgment that someone can be believed and relied upon. When we trust each other, it makes life easier, quicker and friendlier.
Society can't function without trust. So does that mean the more trust, the better?
Well, not according to philosopher Honora O'Neill. Here he is speaking to David Edmonds, presenter of the BBC World Service programme, The Big Idea.
We have another word which is gullible, and if you simply place trust indiscriminately without making a judgment about whether the other person or institution is trustworthy, then just trusting to luck, as we say, is probably not a virtue.
There's a difference between trusting someone because you have good reason to believe them and being gullible. That's easy to deceive because you trust and believe people too quickly.
If you don't judge who is trustworthy and who is not, you are trusting to luck, simply believing or hoping that things will happen for the best.
But being gullible and trusting to luck is exactly how Bernie Madoff was able to trick so many people into giving him their money. Their biggest mistake was to trust him indiscriminately, in a way that does not show care or judgment, usually with harmful results.
So, if indiscriminately trusting people is such a bad idea, how do we avoid it? How can we tell who is trustworthy and who is not? Here's the BBC World Service's Big Idea presenter David Edmonds asking Honora O'Neill to give some details.
An individual or organisation is trustworthy if they can justifiably be trusted. To be trustworthy, they need 3 ingredients. First, honesty. People have to be able to believe what they're told. Second, competence. Beyond honesty and competence, there's a third element to trustworthiness: reliability.
That's the boring one. That's just being honest and competent each time, so that it's not enough to be episodically honest and competent for some of the things you claim to be able to do, but not others.
Philosopher Honora O'Neill identifies 3 ingredients for trustworthiness: honesty, competence and reliability.
Competence means the ability to do something well. You would trust a car mechanic to fix your broken car engine, but you wouldn't go to them for dental work. They're not competent to remove your tooth like a dentist is.
And you wouldn't trust your dentist to fix your broken down car either. Honora O'Neill also mentions reliability, being trustworthy because you behave well all the time and keep all the promises you make.
It's the combination of these 3, being honest, competent and reliable, that makes someone truly trustworthy.
And not someone like Bernie Madoff, who would run off with your money and entire life savings.
All of which brings me to my quiz question. Do you remember, Rob?
Yep, I do. You asked how much Bernie Madoff stole from the American investors he lied to. And I said B, $65 million.
But in fact, it was C, $65 billion, a lot of money to give to such an untrustworthy man.
So we've been discussing whether there is a crisis of trust and asking how to know who is trustworthy, able to be trusted as honest, competent and reliable.
Placing your trust in someone trustworthy is very different from being gullible, easy to trick because you trust and believe people too quickly.
And it can also be unhelpful to trust things to luck, simply hope or believe that everything will work out for the best.
Both of these problems come about when people trust indiscriminately, in an unsystematic way that does not show care or judgment, usually with harmful results, as Bernie Madoff's victims found out to their cost.
But luckily, there are many trustworthy people around, and we can spot them using 3 criteria: honesty, in other words, not lying, competence, and reliability.
Competence means an ability to do something well, in the correct and effective way.
And reliability means being honest and competent all the time, not just being honest sometimes or reliable in some actions, but not others.
That's all for 6 Minute English. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Alice.
And I'm Rob. Now, Alice, what did you get up to at the weekend?
Oh, I did some spring cleaning, which means cleaning a place very well, especially places you don't clean often. So I was tidying up my wardrobe, trying to organise things, and suddenly hundreds of shoes tumbled on my head.
Poor Alice. But why do you have so many shoes? And why do you keep them at the top of your wardrobe? I only have 3 pairs.
I like to match my shoes to my outfit, and 3 pairs wouldn't do the trick. Well, the subject of today's show is having too much stuff. And you're making me feel guilty, Rob. You must have too much of something.
Yes, plastic bags. I think they're useful, but they're getting out of hand. And that means not under control. They're taking over my kitchen.
You can recycle plastic bags, you know, Rob.
Well, you can recycle shoes too, you know, Alice.
Oh, yes.
Now, in general, I don't have a lot of clutter in my flat. And that means an untidy collection of objects. Clutter makes it harder to find the things you need. And it makes moving house a nightmare. All those boxes full of things you don't need.
Good point. I have a friend who suggested the 3-bucket system. You sort things into 3 different buckets. One you label as to keep, one as to get rid of, and one as maybe to get rid of. Get rid of, by the way, means to remove something you don't want. It's the maybe bucket that's tricky, isn't it? You never know if you might need something in the future.
Yes, it would need to be a big bucket too.
Yes, it would.
Well, I think we could all live better with less. OK, well, let's have today's quiz question before we talk about decluttering our lives. So, which word, Alice, means a belief that physical possessions are the most important thing in life? Is it A, metaphysics, B, materialism, or C, existentialism?
OK. I think it's B, materialism.
OK, well, we'll find out if you got the answer right or wrong later on in the show. Now, let's listen to Bea Johnson, author of Zero Waste Home, talking about how she and her family have adopted a minimalist or deliberately simple lifestyle in their California home.
We've really asked ourselves what is it that we really need. We've asked really true questions and evaluated every single thing that we have. There is nothing that we overlook. I even came to one day look at my vegetable peeler, for example, and ask myself, do I really need that vegetable peeler?
So one day, Bea Johnson decided to evaluate or to judge the importance of something to see if she needed it.
She evaluated her vegetable peeler and decided to put it in the get rid of bucket.
Yes, and to overlook something means not to see it. Now, I don't blame Bea at all because I don't like peeling vegetables either. And you can actually get the benefit of the vitamins and minerals by eating the skins.
Very healthy, Rob.
We can really live with fewer things, but some people can't help looking for the latest version of something or go for designer goods. Writer and journalist James Woolman warns us about this. He wonders how much stuff is too much.
This thing about need is such a dangerous term because what do you need? And I'm not anti-stuff. Stuff is good. I'm anti too much stuff and I'm anti the wrong stuff. Don't go out and buy that labelled good that you think is going to make people think something more of you. That's not going to make you happy.
James Woolman there. Now, Alice, do you buy labelled goods?
I'm afraid I do. And labelled goods or products are the ones with a famous brand name like Gucci, Dior, Prada, etc. But I do think James Woolman is right. Buying things just because other people have them, for example, doesn't make us happy.
Yeah, that's true. But as he says, not everything is the wrong stuff. For example, I'm very fond of my large schoolboy collection of superhero comics. I might not need them, but they make me happy. So what stuff makes you happy, Alice?
Oh, well, I like my music CDs and my books, even though I've got the music on an MP3 player, and I don't often pull a book out from the bookcase.
They have sentimental value, don't they?
Yes.
And that means the importance of something because of a personal or emotional feeling that we attach to it. Well, I sold all my music CDs online ages ago.
Oh, well, that sounds like the sensible thing to do. OK, I think it's time for the answer to today's quiz question, Rob.
Yes, I asked you, which word means a belief that physical possessions are the most important thing in life? Is it A, metaphysics, B, materialism, or C, existentialism?
And I said B, materialism.
And you were right, Alice. Well done. The answer is indeed B, materialism. This is the word used to refer to a desire for material things and wealth and little or no interest in ethical values. Now, can we hear the words we learned today, please, Alice?
Yes, of course. They are spring cleaning, out of hand, clutter, get rid of, materialism, minimalist, evaluate, overlook, labelled, sentimental value.
Well, that's the end of today's 6-Minute English. Don't forget to join us again soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
6-Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, I'm Rob. Welcome to 6-Minute English. I'm joined today by Finn. Hello, Finn.
Yeah, hi, Rob. You know, I'm happy you called me to present this programme with you because I was there by my desk feeling a bit bored.
Great yawn, Finn.
Yeah.
Now, yawn, of course, is a typical reaction of someone who is bored.
Yeah, it's when you open your mouth wide and take some air in and slowly out.
OK, well, let's make this programme all about boredom, shall we? And I'll start by stimulating your imagination.
Thank you, but how are you going to make me excited and interested in something, Rob?
OK, well, how about I challenge you to a question that you might not know the answer to?
OK, well, you can try.
Okay.
Go on then.
Well, I know you like the theatre.
I do, but it has to be an exciting play or I get restless.
Restless. You mean unable to sit still because you get bored or worried even. OK, well, I wonder how you'd feel watching the longest continuous play recorded.
Well, that's quite an offer. But what do you mean?
Well, according to the Guinness Book of Records, the longest continuous dramatic performance was held in New Jersey in the US in 2010. But do you know how long the cast for The Bald Soprano by Eugene Ionesco was on stage for? Was it for about A, 8 hours, B, 17 hours, or C, 23 hours?
Wow, they're all pretty long. I'll say B, 17 hours, Rob.
Goodness, right. OK, well, I'll let you know the answer at the end of the programme. Now let's talk more about boredom. I think this is a feeling we have to learn how to cope with.
Yes, we have to learn to deal with this situation successfully, to cope with it. But people often feel they want to change their life, to change their job. They might feel stuck in a rut.
That's a good phrase, stuck in a rut. So you mean you have become too fixed in one kind of job?
Yes, you know, Rob, even I sometimes dream of something a bit more exciting, like being a professional diver or maybe even a pilot of a really fast plane.
Well, guess what? Even pilots get bored, you know.
Not when they're flying anyway.
Wrong. When they're up in the air.
No way, really? I don't believe you.
Well, Missy Cummings, an American, was a fighter pilot. Listen to the phrasal verb she uses, meaning to stop being bored, at least for a while. Is there ever time for a fighter pilot to get bored?
Oh my gosh, sure. For the same reasons that commercial pilots get bored. These fighter jets are very automated when it comes to just holding altitude and heading. So you turn everything on autopilot, and I probably listen to more Oprah Winfrey TV shows on the high-frequency radios. And so you get good about using the technology to figure out how to stave off that boredom.
So she listened to a show hosted by the American presenter Oprah Winfrey on the radio to stave off her boredom. Now, to stave off means to stop or to keep an unpleasant feeling away. Now, in this case, she means boredom.
Yes, indeed. But some experts think there's something good about feeling bored.
Really?
Let's hear what Tiffany Watt-Smith has to say. She works for the Centre for the History of Emotions at the Queen Mary University of London. Pay attention to the word she uses to describe what boredom does to people.
On the one hand, people are worried about being underoccupied and bored. On the other, there's a set of anxieties about us not having any more downtime. You know, we can constantly check our phones at the bus stop. Everything is to be filled. And what does that do to our minds? I think boredom is a very useful emotion. It's an emotion which spurs people on to change something about their environment. If you're bored, it gives rise to creativity.
So boredom spurs people on to change something. Now, to spur on means to stimulate or to encourage someone to do something.
So, what are you going to do, Finn? How will you change your life?
Change my life? Okay, two things. The first one is, I want to know if I got that question right.
Well, I said at the beginning of the programme that the longest continuous dramatic performance was held in New Jersey, US in 2010. And I asked you, how long was the cast on stage for to play The Bald Soprano by Eugene Ionesco?
Yes, the options were 8 hours, 17 hours and 23 hours, I think. And I said 17. Was I right?
You were not.
Oh, no.
It was even longer.
Oh, wow.
Okay, according to
23.
the Guinness Book of Records, yes, the play lasted 23 hours, 33 minutes and 54 seconds. It was achieved by the 27 O'Clock Players who performed The Bald Soprano at Belmar, New Jersey, USA on the 27th of July, 2010. Anyway, Finn, what's the second thing you're going to do to stave off your boredom?
You know what, Rob? I'm going to book myself a fantastic holiday. Maybe I could start with a visit to Patagonia in Argentina to see the penguins.
Yeah, sounds very exciting. But before you head off to Patagonia, could you remind us of some of the English words we've heard today?
We heard yawn, stimulating, restless, to cope with, stuck in a rut, to stave off, to spur on.
Thanks, Finn. That's it for this programme. I hope you didn't find it boring.
Not at all. I loved it.
Please join us again soon for another 6 Minutes English from BBC Learning English. Bye-bye.
Bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Alice.
And I'm Neil.
So, Neil, did you sleep well last night?
Yes, thanks. Why do you ask?
Today, we're talking about how much sleep we need.
I like a good 8 hours myself. 10 at the weekend. How about you?
6 is enough for me. But did you know this? Humans sleep around 3 hours less than other primates like chimps, who sleep for about 10 hours. So you're a chimp, Neil. At the weekends, at least. Are you ready for the quiz question? OK, I'll assume that means yes. Right, what's another word for sleepwalking? Is it A, narcolepsy, B, restless legs syndrome, or C, somnambulism?
I will go for B, restless leg syndrome, since there's a connection with the legs.
Well, we'll find out whether you're right or wrong later on in the show. So, what keeps you awake at night, Neil?
Not much, to be honest. I usually sleep like a log, and that means very heavily indeed. But sometimes my own snoring wakes me up, and then I can find it hard to get back to sleep. Snoring, for those of you who don't know, means breathing in a noisy way through your mouth or nose while you're asleep. like that. How about you, Alice?
Very good, yes. Well, that's quite ridiculous. Anyway, for me, it's drinking too much coffee during the day. It's the caffeine in the coffee, a chemical that makes you feel more awake, which can stop you from sleeping at night. But there are so many things that can keep us awake these days.
Oh, yes. Radio, TV, techie stuff like 24-hour internet, computers, smartphones. I love my phone. It's never far from me.
Well, let's hear what Professor Jerome Siegel from the University of California found when he studied the sleep habits of 3 different hunter-gatherer communities who have very little contact with modern society. They don't have artificial light, electricity, batteries, or any of the gadgets that we rely on today.
Their sleep was not that different from ours. The range of sleep period was about 6.9 to 8.5 hours. If you actually measure sleep in current populations in the United States or in Europe, they're definitely at the low end of what's been reported. They certainly don't sleep a lot less than we do, but they clearly don't sleep more.
Professor Jerome Siegel found that people in these communities don't go to bed until several hours after sundown, just like us. But one big difference is that very few of them suffer from insomnia, which means having difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep.
Now, I don't have a problem with insomnia, and hunter-gatherers, people who live by hunting animals and gathering plants to eat, don't either. Probably because they take a lot of physical exercise during the day.
Yes, that's right. Taking exercise is an important factor in sleeping soundly or well at night. But these days our minds can be so active that it becomes very difficult to fall asleep. Let's listen to Professor Kevin Morgan from Loughborough University here in England, talking about how cognitive behavioural therapy can be used to help people with insomnia.
If you have a train of thoughts which would otherwise keep you awake, one way of dealing with this is to block those thoughts. What I'd like you to do is repeat the word the in your mind at irregular intervals. The. And what you'll find is that the mind space required to do this blocks out almost everything else.
So, Professor Kevin Morgan suggests saying one word over and over again at irregular intervals. Irregular in this context means not spaced out evenly. Doing it can help to block out the thoughts that are stopping you from getting to sleep. It sounds like a very simple solution. Wonder if it works.
There's one way to find out, Neil. Try it yourself.
I will.
OK. And cognitive behavioural therapy, by the way, is a treatment for mental health problems that tries to change the way you think.
Well, I usually count sheep if I can't get to sleep. Do you do that, Alice?
No, not usually, Neil. OK, I think it's time for the answer to our quiz question. I asked, what's another word for sleepwalking? Is it A, narcolepsy, B, restless leg syndrome, or C, somnambulism?
And I said B, restless leg syndrome.
Sorry, Neil. It's actually C, somnambulism. The roots of this word come from Latin. Somnus means sleep, and ambulare means walk. Narcolepsy is a condition where you can't stop yourself from falling asleep, especially during the day.
Narcolepsy.
And restless leg syndrome is a condition that makes you desperate to move your legs around, especially when you're sitting quietly or trying to get to sleep.
Get to sleep.
Now, Neil, wake up.
Oh, hello, Alice. Sorry.
Hello. Can we hear today's words again, please?
Okay, yeah. Sleep like a log. Snoring. Caffeine. Insomnia. Hunter-gatherers. Soundly. Irregular. Cognitive behavioural therapy.
Well, that just about brings us to the end of this edition of 6 Minute English. We hope you've enjoyed this programme. Please do join us again soon. Bye.
Goodbye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, I'm Rob. Welcome to 6 Minute English. With me in the studio today is Neil. Hello, Neil.
Hi. Hi, Rob.
Oh, are you right, Neil? You're playing on your smartphone again, are you?
What was that? Oh, yeah. Sorry, Rob. Just doing something on my smartphone.
You know, the kind of phone which allows you to go online.
I can see that, but are you waiting for a call?
No, I just carry it with me at all times. Where I go, the phone goes. No phone? No Neil.
Okay, but why do you need your phone so much?
Why? What if I need to go somewhere? How will I find my way? What about the weather? Will it rain today? I need to know these things.
Why don't you just look up in the sky and see if it's cloudy?
Look up to see if it's going to rain? I have an app, which is short for application, which is a computer program for a specific purpose. My app tells me the weather, and this one does all the maths I need. And here's one for translations, and this one here can tell me what I'm going to have
Okay, I get the point. Today we are talking about computers, and we'll bring you some words connected with the digital age.
Connected. To connect. We use this verb a lot. It means to link or join one thing to another thing. In this case, connected means linked to the internet.
Okay, I can see you're very excited about computers, so that's what my question is all about. The first commercially produced desktop computer was designed and produced by the Italian company Olivetti and presented at an event in New York. When did it happen? Was it in A, 1955, B, 1965, or C, 1975?
Well, I think it's A, 1955.
Very interesting. You'll get the right answer at the end of the programme. Now let's talk about computers. You can't live without them, but American technology writer Nicholas Carr, the author of a book called The Glass Cage, Where Automation is Taking Us, thinks they might cause problems.
Problems? They cause us problems when they crash. That's what we say when our computer suddenly stops working.
Well, not just that. Let's listen to Nicholas Carr. He says if we rely too much on computers, we lose something. But what is it?
The ability of computers to do things we used to do is growing astronomically. And we're rushing to hand over to computers tasks, activities, both in our work lives and in our personal lives. And what you begin to see is what's often called a de-skilling effect. The person becoming reliant on computers because they're not exercising their own talents, those talents begin to fade. And we begin to lose, as a result, the unique things that human beings can do that computers can't. Feel empathy, take a broad perspective, interpret all the stuff that can't be turned into data.
According to Nicholas Carr, using computers means that we're losing skills. He talks about de-skilling. A skill is the ability to do something well because we've practiced it.
And he also talks about the loss of talent. Talent is a natural ability to do something. You didn't have to learn it, you're just naturally good at it. It's something we're all born with. Carr says that relying on computers means our talent is fading because we don't use it anymore.
And he goes even further and says we're losing some of the things that make us human, like empathy, the ability to imagine and understand what other people might be feeling.
So do you agree with this writer, Neil?
I think he's got a point, actually.
It's like the friendships we make on social media. It's nice to get to know new people in different countries, but we have to remember that it's important to talk to people face to face too.
So maybe we shouldn't use GPS to find our way around all the time. GPS, the global positioning system, which gives us directions with the help of satellites orbiting the Earth. Instead, have a conversation with someone. Ask for directions.
Yes, and perhaps we can give the spell checker a miss occasionally. A spell checker is a very useful piece of software which helps us avoid making spelling mistakes when we're typing on a computer. But it is good to actually learn how to spell the words properly and not leave everything to the machine.
Good idea, Rob. I'll try not to rely so much on digital technology. Computers are here to stay, and they'll become more and more sophisticated, but we have to remember they are just tools.
Yes, computers are here to stay. And by the way, when was the first commercially produced desktop computer launched? As I told you, it was designed and created by Olivetti and launched in New York. But when was it launched? Was it 1955, 1965 or 1975?
And I said 1955.
Perhaps you should ask your smartphone because the correct answer is actually B, 1965.
I don't believe it.
The computer was called Programmer 101. and it was presented at the New York World's Fair. They sold 44,000 units all over the world. The initial price in the US was $3,200. Well, we're almost out of time, so let's remind ourselves of some of the words we said today, Neil.
Smartphone. App. To connect. Crash. Skill. Talent. Empathy. GPS. Spell checker.
Thank you. Well, that's it for today. Do log on to bbclearningenglish.com, maybe on your smartphone, Neil, to find more 6-minute English programmes. Until next time, goodbye.
Bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.